Hello, hello, Mustard Seed Challenge peeps. I'm so excited to be here talking to you today. I was trying to think of some valuable content to give you guys as you're already in the second week of the month and you're going for it. And I want you guys to be as successful as possible. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about investing in your relationships. And so the biggest part, I think, about this business is relationships. And you will probably hear this again and again if you are watching 12 Days of Diamonds or if you're talking with other leaders. And so it's really important that not only are you working on relationships as you're bringing new members on your team, but that you work on the relationships with your members, your current members, and especially as you guys grow and you get business builders, you really want to make sure that you're pouring into them. And if we each teach this to our business builders as we go, it will be amazing. And each of us doesn't have to work so hard to talk to every single one of our members, right? Because that can be hard, or to build a really close friendship with every one of your members might not be something that's actually feasible. But if we each are working on building relationships with our members and then teaching our leaders to do the same thing, then it will be something that can kind of spread and grow, similar to the mustard seed starting out small and growing into something big, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about the love languages, and there's 5 love languages. And if you haven't read this book, it's really interesting. It's actually more based on a relationship with like a husband and a wife, but the whole thing of it is that each of us interprets love or caring in a different way. And so we tend to want to give people love in the way that we like to receive it. And so let me just share the 5 love languages. So one is gifts. If you like getting gifts, if it makes you feel loved, then gifts is one of your love languages. Quality time is another one. Quality time is, obviously spending some time together, maybe talking face to face, maybe going out to lunch and sharing with each other, spending an hour on the phone talking. Acts of service is another love language. And that's if you like when somebody just does something for you, like maybe they come over and they help you fold laundry and they don't ask you what you need, they just kind of do it, or somebody brings you a meal and that makes you feel super loved. That's an act of service. And then physical touch is another love language. Some people, they love being hugged or patted on the back, or just that physical touch, their arm rubbed. And you will tend to find that the people who like that's how they feel loved, they will be a touchy, huggy kind of person. Words of affirmation is the last one. So if you like to hear, you did a good job, or, after you do something, hearing those things. And all of us like all these things, but we tend to kind of gravitate towards one or the other. So it's kind of fun to know your love language, and with your friendships and with your spouse, it's always good to figure out what their love language is. So that's kind of what this book is about. But I want to relate it to our members, because if you struggle with relationships, or if you're introverted like me, it can be hard to kind of put yourself out there, and you can kind of have this awkwardness about how do I build relationships with people? Well, those 5 things are ways to do that. You can give people gifts. You can spend quality time with people. Find your members and ask them if they want to go for a cup of coffee. And you can talk about oils, but you can just talk about life, right? Learn about what's important to them, learn about their kids, those kind of things. Acts of service. You could do something nice for one of your members, especially if maybe they have a surgery or they have something going on. You could pop over and give them a meal, or give them a gift card for somewhere, or I don't know, there's so many different ways that you could do. Physical touch, you can make sure you give someone a hug and you can let them know that you care. And words of affirmation, I feel like this is super important, especially for our business builders, that you encourage them and that you let them know that they're doing a good job, because I know I like words of affirmation. I think we all like words of affirmation, but you can do that for your members too. Like, a lot of our members are struggling with health issues or with family issues, or with just not feeling good about themselves. And so just words of encouragement, like, you're doing amazing, like, you're making great choices, like, I'm so glad you're ditching and switching, however you want to do it, you got to, be real with you and do it your way. But if you're struggling with how to build relationships or how to build community, I feel like if you take into account the 5 love languages and you try and put those out to your members, that will be successful. And I love this quote. I've got a couple John Maxwell quotes for you, because I have been reading a couple leadership books by John Maxwell, and he is amazing. I love his heart and the way he teaches leadership. But one quote that I always hear him say is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think that's so true. Like, people want to be cared for, and they want to know that you really value them, and that you love them. So make sure that, you take into account those love languages. And if you struggle with relationships, or you struggle with how do I move forward in getting closer to my friends and my members and my team, try the 5 love languages and see how that works for you. And then, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was having a vision or direction for your team. And I just want to kind of ask you some questions to think about. What gets you excited about doing this business other than just selling oils, like other than the financial aspect? Because we know the financial aspect is amazing, but let's think about what kind of impact you want to have on your members and the people on your team. Do you want to encourage them and inspire them? Because I really think, this is something that I want as a crucial part of my team, is because I don't think there's a lot of encouragement out there in the world these days. There's a lot of down news. There's a lot of things out there in the world that are like, they bum you out, they bring you down. And I really like the idea of encouraging and inspiring people. So a question that you could ask yourself every day is, how can I encourage my team? What could I do? How could I encourage the next person I have a conversation with? And maybe you can use some of those love language things that we're talking about. Is your vision maybe more to help people live healthier lives for themselves and their kids, and hopefully passing that down to generations? And if that's the case, then maybe share some more product reviews, or share ways that you can ditch and switch, or what you brought in and how much you like it. People won't know how they can move forward in health unless we share with them things. And it doesn't even have to be Young Living related. If you're into making your own kombucha, share about that, like on your Facebook wall. Share about ways that you can increase your health and wellness that way. And then I want to talk about just praying about where God wants to take this business, where he wants to take your team, and what he wants to do. And I love the idea of thinking beyond yourself, because I feel like your own personal why, which if you are just getting started in this business, you will eventually hear a lot about finding out what your why is. And that's so important. But a lot of times our whys are about what we need and getting our needs met, which is so important. I feel like that will get you started in this business. But when you go beyond yourself, and when you start to think of how God could maybe use you to either bless people, or maybe the financial aspect of when you get to a certain rank, what you could do with that financial blessing, when you start to think beyond yourself, you start to have a purpose. And I feel like purpose is going to be what is going to help you push through all those hard times in this business, or the times you feel stuck, or the times when no one shows up to your class, or the time when you hear too many no's in a row. Purpose is going to help you get past that. And this is another John Maxwell quote, and he says, if you want to improve your world, focus on helping others. And I think it's kind of counterintuitive, and sometimes it's like, I gotta focus on me. But it almost seems like when you take your eyes off yourself and start to focus on what God might want to do through you and through this business, and you start to ask him to give you that vision for it, I feel like you start to get a sense of purpose, and that purpose is going to give you drive to keep going. So that is something I just wanted to bring up. And just ask yourself, am I emotionally tethered to my why? If you have kind of thought of your why in this business, but you just feel like when you're coming up against those fears, or you're coming up against doing the action steps of what this business means, teaching classes, meeting one-on-one, helping people get on ER, and training other people, if you start to get stuck or feel like, it's not worth it to do those things or to keep going, then you need to ask yourself if you're emotionally tethered to your why. You can start to ask yourself, what breaks your heart? Like, what actually would make you cry? And usually those things are things that are beyond yourself, and you may feel helpless that you can't do anything about them. But if you start to pray about them, God may give you a vision of how that may be important to you. And I know, just as an example, for me, one of the things I often think about is that there are so many moms of autistic kids, myself included, who might really have a heart for natural health, and they might want to use natural remedies or natural modalities or things like that, but it's so expensive and insurance doesn't cover any of that stuff. So you tend to go towards prescription pills and things like that because that's covered by insurance. And if you can't afford all these natural health aspects for your autistic child, and so that's a personal situation that I've been in, and I know eventually through this business, financially, my needs will be met there, and I will be able to help my son and use more natural therapies on him. But beyond that, how cool would it be to be able to offer some sort of financial support and help for other moms who really have a heart for wellness and natural stuff, but they just can't afford to go that route. So that's something that, just an example for myself of what, makes my heart break, and God has given me a vision for that really makes me emotionally tethered to my why to keep going when things are hard. So those are just the things and thoughts I have for you today. I hope they motivate you and encourage you and inspire you. If you have more questions about, just helping people get on essential rewards, or anything else about, kind of goal setting and getting to where you need to be this month for this challenge, please message me. I'm here to help you. And I also wanted to just mention, Sunny brought this to my attention today, and I totally didn't know. The Stress Away Bath Bomb Essential Rewards promotion ends on Saturday. So what that is if somebody buys a new kit and gets on ER with a 50 PV order right away, they're going to get a Stress Away Bath Bomb as a gift from Young Living. And if you are doing this challenge, then you one of your things is to have an Essential Rewards promotion. So you could double up your promotion with this promotion and get it out to anyone that might be interested, and hopefully get some new members on Essential Rewards right away. But just wanted to let you know that ends Saturday. So if you were sharing or using it, you want to know that. So all right, guys, I hope you are enjoying this challenge, and I know you guys are building community and building relationships and doing really awesome things, and I'm so excited to see, what comes of all these seeds that we're planting this month. All right, bye.